Hello and welcome to another How to Code Well web chat. Today we're going to be discussing going from a course like a university course or a college course or self-study, if that's something that you've done, into the industry. What are the requirements that you need to do that? Now, first of all, you're definitely going to need a portfolio. Now, this is going to be a website that you have produced that will display your technical and theory skills of web design or web development, depending on which area you want to go into. So if you want to be a JavaScript developer, then perhaps your portfolio will be heavy on the JavaScript. If you're going to be a back-end developer, then perhaps your portfolio will be pulling in different APIs through a back-end service. Perhaps it'll have a content management system that you can display and show to potential employers. So when they come in and do an interview and they ask perhaps what you've built previously, you can demonstrate that. Maybe you could put something on your CV to say that you've built those skills, developed those skills. And that is the second point. You definitely need to have a CV. You definitely need to have a checklist that you can say that you've studied in X environment, you've got these skills, you've had these kind of experiences. Perhaps if you've done some moonlighting, perhaps if you've done some work on the side, that always helps. Put those down on CV as well. So portfolio, CV. Next, you need to have experience. Now, that again kind of goes with the portfolio, but you need to know what it is that you kind of, what direction you want to head into. Whether you're going to be a JavaScript guy, whether you're going to be a API guy, PHP, Python, whatever, or whether you're just going to be a web designer. Now, if you're going to be a web designer, then obviously your website needs to be, your portfolio site needs to be looking very good, right? Far better than anyone who's perhaps a back-end developer, all right? Because what you want to be focusing on is user experience. So the takeaway here is, yes, you need a portfolio, but your portfolio needs to demonstrate your skills, okay? Now, if you're a mobile apps developer, then you need to have mobile apps as well, okay? So these are apps that you've perhaps produced yourself. They might not be in the Play Store, but they're something that you can demonstrate, something that you can show. If they are in the Play Store, if they are in iTunes Store, then more the better, okay? But still, you need to have something, a platform that you can put your own work on and demonstrate those skills. I hear a lot of people saying it's very difficult to get into this industry. It certainly is, but you can make that slightly easier by having all of those skills in a demonstrable, demonstratable way, okay? So you can actually demonstrate those things, you can show those to your future employers, okay? And they'll be asking questions. They'll be like, well, haven't you considered this? Or what do you think about that? Or this new technology is coming into play. What do you think about this? Okay, and you'll be able to answer those questions with your best abilities. The other thing is that a lot of people just apply for the wrong positions. So you want to be focusing, you want to be really concentrating on what it is that you care about. Do you care more about front end? Do you care more about back end? I've said that 100 times already in this video, but you really need to boil down what it is that you care about and focus on those positions, okay? Yes, there are full stack developers out there. Yes, there's people who do both front and back end, but it's certainly easier if you're in a niche, okay? If you're working on, I prefer working specifically on CSS. I work better when I'm in JavaScript, okay? Perhaps you do have PHP skills, perhaps you do have Python skills. Yes, you want to show those off, but you can actually rate yourself. You can say, look, out of 5, I think I'm here on JavaScript and I'm there on PHP. So you can critique yourself. Employers certainly like that when they know that the people that they're interviewing know or think they know where they are in terms of the industry, in terms of the skill level. And also you want to know where you want to be or what you want to learn in the next coming year, 2 years, and so forth. So when they ask you, where do you want to be, what do you want to learn, that kind of thing, you want to say that immediately. Okay, and your portfolio needs to demonstrate that you are moving in that progression. One thing I will always say about portfolio sites is that they shouldn't just show your best work. Yes, they should show your best work. Yes, that best work should be loud and clear on the website. but you also want to be demonstrating how you got to that point. All right. So a lot of people won't show their first ever website that they've produced because they're ashamed of that. But actually, they should be proud of it because that actually pushed them to progress to where they are today. When producing your portfolio, you need to think about it from the perspective of the person viewing your portfolio. They're interested in your skill sets. They're interested in your rate of progression. If you just show your best work, then they're not going to be able to have a proper gauge of how quickly you can develop from something that you're perhaps ashamed of to something that you're really proud of. Okay, and you really shouldn't be ashamed of your first piece of work because that, like I said, has pushed you to get from point A to point B. Now, if you put a time on this, say this was produced, say 2 years ago, this was produced like 2 weeks ago, then they can actually see how much you've progressed, all right, over that period of time. And they'll be thinking, well, hang on a minute, if you've progressed in 2 years from that to this, then how much are you going to progress if we actually push you in a professional environment? Okay, so you want to be showing basically everything that you've done in a rate of progression and perhaps a timeline. Show the best thing first, but also show off how you actually got there. Also, when demonstrating your work, you want to be writing down your thought process, how you actually got to that conclusion. Now, I remember back when I was doing my GCSEs, when I was doing GCSE maths, I was always told to show your workings. Don't just show your final result. Show how you actually got there. Show your thinking process. A great example is if you're a web designer, okay? If you're a graphics designer, if you're someone who cares about how something looks, then perhaps you'll be trying out different ideas. Demonstrate those as well. So put on your portfolio maybe the 3 or 5 designs that you thought about before you got to your final design. Again, that shows a rate of progression. And what happens there is that you're producing a talking point, right? So the person who's interviewing you, your future employer, will be able to pick that apart and question why you chose different ways to display something. Now, this certainly isn't just for designers. This is also for programmers as well. And a great tool that will show you a route of progression is GitHub, or a public repository, something that you can demonstrate your skills on. Okay, so you might have GitHub pages, you might have your portfolio on that. And you can show the commits. You can talk about how you got from one point to another. You can do that in perhaps a blog. You can demonstrate old code using gists and things like that, and talk about how you fixed or refactored something from A to B. When you write down why you've moved from one method of thinking to another method of thinking, that shows that you're passionate and you care about what it is that you're producing. So in your portfolio, you may want to have a blog. That's a very easy way of creating posts on a regular basis about something that you care about, something that you're passionate about. And also you can document your learning plan in a blog. So you can say, today I learned this, tomorrow I'm going to learn that kind of thing. Again, that shows a rate of progression. That shows where you were before and where you are heading, okay? Very important for employers. The portfolio is not the only place that you need to be focusing your attention on when applying to different positions in web development. I'm going to be focusing on the other areas in future web chats. Thanks ever so much for watching. Happy coding, everyone, and I will see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.